And from Akwa Ibom, we'll be taking you to Oka, where Chima Christian, an election observer and public policy analyst, is standing by, and Chima would like to share with us his own observation during these elections. Chima, are you with us? Chima.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for having me.
All right, so Chima, what were your observations, and of course with regard to the uploading of results?
Well, thank you very much. You will recall that before now I heard with funding support from DGG, the Aspirants for Good Governance, called for an independent multi-stakeholder audit of INEC systems and processes. By that we meant the BVAS, the IREV, the voter register, and indeed all the processes, including the CVR data, and indeed all the processes that INEC will rely on to process the voting decisions of Nigerians. We anticipated some of these issues. I recall coming on your program to discuss some of these issues and make key issues around them, to beg Nigerians to insist that INEC must subject these systems to multi-stakeholder audit and integrity tests as a way to determine, because as of today, the only things Nigerians know about these devices, apart from what you saw now, that's the field reports that you're getting, is what INEC says about these devices. INEC before now, and I listened to your conversations with people in the studio, had been promising, assuring Nigerians everything, promising heaven and earth about these devices. Today, the devices have functioned, and Nigerians are beginning to have varying experiences from these devices, and people are now seeing that, alas, these systems may not be working as efficiently as advertised. That was why we called for audit of the systems as a way to improve on those systems, and we did recommended solid public policy recommendations, including upgrading of the BVAS. We saw some of the issues because we monitored elections in Anambra State, we monitored elections in Ekiti State, we monitored elections in Osun State, and because of that, Osun State rather, and because of that, the information we got from the field reports we got from those elections, we now piece together that there are certain problematic areas with these devices. Can INEC address these issues? Unfortunately, Nigerians were not paying attention. The opposition political parties were not paying attention. The presidential campaign councils and their presidential candidates were not paying attention. And Nigerians indeed did not pay attention to those demands. And in effect, those changes were not made, and we are here today. So it's indeed quite unfortunate. Some of the reports we've been getting, including the reports I've been getting, not different from the ones we've been getting across the country about the late logistics, about the BVAS failure, about how election people have been trying to, ad hoc staff of INEC has been trying to tamper with the BVAS, and a whole lot of issues around it, including for some entities now calling for possible cancellation of the elections and the expressed dissatisfaction of Nigerians about the ongoing. So it's quite unfortunate that we're here discussing this today, but I believe that this would have been preventable if those systems were subjected to integrity tests before deployment. And again, I do say, election is too important to be left or to be processed using devices that has not been subjected to integrity tests. And 2023 is another case in point for why Nigerians must insist that you cannot, for a machine or machines or devices or indeed systems that will decide the voting or process the voting decisions of how many million Nigerians, and you are relying on mere assurances. How does the BVAS work? Nobody knows. Mere assurances. How does the IREV work? Mere assurances. What of the voter register? Mere assurances. Nobody subjected these things to integrity tests, and today we are seeing these things. And so, partly, we have to blame INEC for the inefficiencies seen. We also have to blame the political parties for not engaging. We also have to find ways to tell Nigerians to take responsibility for what happened. Because if Nigerians asked questions early enough, I believe answers would have come and will not be at this point.
Christian, that when you say mere assurances, I do not agree with you, because I know that INEC did some tests, some displays. INEC even had a mock display of how these machines work in an election. We had mock displays in selected places. So you may not say just mere assurances. I agree that, well, it may not have turned out fully well, but I think that INEC gave enough assurance and tried to justify those assurances.
Well, let me go back to that. Perhaps maybe I should reword my statement. Maybe you're right in saying that they are not mere assurances, but they were not substantial enough to pass for audit or integrity tests. For instance, let us deal with the issues that have been identified with the beavers as at today from many reports that we've seen. One is the upload of results that are not legible. Upload of results that are not legible. So in some polling units in Lagos, it was identified that the results were so blown away, so overexposed, that the reports will be unusable because you can't see the data on the results you've uploaded. Two, there are reports that people uploaded blurry pictures. And so in this day and age of artificial intelligence, the beavers is not able to be programmed to detect results that are not legible. So, for instance, with what happened in Osun State, there are places where you cannot rely on the beavers to make informed because the beavers report is reporting something that is not legible. So we recommended slight software upgrade. Nobody listened to that. And then number two, we asked Nigerians if you indeed, okay, you saw the press statement from INEC Festus Okoye a few hours ago, talking about the slight technical challenges that they're having with the beavers. And his excuse was that, oh, we did not deploy this nationwide. We did this for state office and elections and it works well. And the challenges you're having with the IRF is as a result of nationwide deployment. So you're going to be doing a nationwide deployment. And there was no test. And you're using an election that will determine the destiny of 200 million Nigerians as a test? Okay, well, so in my own view, what INEC did not qualify as an integrity test and it did not qualify. And so if you have left a system, INEC says it recruited over 1.4 million ad hoc staff. By the law, they are supposed to send 4 ad hoc staff per polling unit. Multiply that by the number of polling units you have in Nigeria, you have over 700 staff that are deployed on election duty. And each of these staff members have some form of autonomy over the systems and the processes. And where these systems and processes are not foolproof, can be tampered with, then you expect that either through inducement, that either through threats to life, or either through anything, that some of them may be tempted to compromise these systems. And we have advised INEC, these are some of the things you can do to make these systems foolproof or tamper-proof. They did not do that, and that is why you are coming up, because I heard Festus Okoye, I think he was speaking on China's television, saying that their agents, their ad hoc staff failed to upload. Now INEC is blaming INEC for not doing their work. That is what we're saying.